Thank you very much for staying with us and welcome to Face Off. I am Nelta Egbe. So, May 29th has come, and indeed a lot of people have breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, it's over and done with. Let's get this, let's get this train on the road. And the train got on the road, but some people say it's been going toop, toop, toop. What is going on? Now, the hopes of many of the Nigerian electorate, and indeed residents in Nigeria, was that as soon as the government got on board, it will be a fast-moving train because there is so much to be done, and 4 years can just sound like 4 seconds. But hey, the questions that many people have asked are, so far, how far? So far, how effective? Based on the promises made in the course of the electioneering, are we there yet? Some have said patience, because there is so much that needs to be put together. This administration cannot just run like that. There are things to be done. Some others have said the right people need to be selected, because if you have the wrong team, you cannot succeed in any way. So at the end of the day, the question, we're back to that question again. So far, how effective? There is a school of thought that believes that what's happening now, where the civil servants are basically running government, is a repetition of what used to happen in other forms of administration, particularly the military era. Is that what is happening now? Or is the administration, is the federal government, and indeed government at all levels, not just at the federal, even across the state, no cabinet? What is going on? Is this the way to go? Would it take so long to select the right persons? What do the laws have to say about this? Anyway, in the studio, I have a political scientist and I have a lawyer. So we'll get the two sides, the legal side and the political side today. Please join me to welcome to the studio. I was telling her before we came on that indeed since the show started, she's like amongst the few women that have agreed to come on the show. Adeyinka Adebayo is a political scientist. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And on this other side is a legal practitioner, Tunde Kolawole. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so
to all the people viewing us this evening.
all right, so we'll ask a quick question in 10 seconds. Please state your position, and I'll begin with the lady. So, Nigeria, so far without a cabinet, how effective? In 10 seconds.
So far, the present president inherited myriads of crises. This is the first time an incumbent president will be relieved from office. The first time the opposition will be coming to power. And you all know that in the history of Nigeria, it has never happened before. And now that is happening, the present government inherited myriads of problems, mismanagement of funds.
So they need time to sort.
They really need a lot of time to solve it.
Okay. Kolawole?
Yeah. Well, for me, we have a president who has had about 4 opportunities to run for the presidency. We also have a political party that said it has a blueprint on how to govern Nigeria. You must also remember that this is not the first time that Mr. President is taking a shot at the presidency. He has been a military head of state before. That is to say, he has had cognate experience regarding this responsibility. So he ought to hit the ground running. All
right. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back to continue this conversation. Be a part of the show via Twitter handles, tweet at @NeltaEgbe, at FaceUp Today, or send us a mail at faceup@channelstv.com. Keep it short and precise. We're back shortly. Please don't go away. Thank you for staying with us again. Be a part of the conversation. Nigeria, so far without a cabinet, how effective? Or in the local parlance, how far? I have 2 guests in the studio, a legal practitioner and a political scientist, Adeyinka Adebayo and Tunde Kolawole. So Tunde Kolawole, since you gave your opening stance last, you can ask the first question.
Well, the question I want to ask my opponent is, if a man has had the opportunity of preparing for this office in the last 12 years, if his political parties had gone ahead to even hire foreign consultants and told us that they have a blueprint for the management of Nigeria, if a man has been a head of state, as a military head of state, don't you consider he ought to have hit the ground running on assuming office since May 29th?
Agreed. He has to have a strong foundation. If you don't have a strong foundation, the house cannot hold. Yes, with his wealth of experience, he had contested 4 times. And having the opportunity to come again, the expectations are very high. And I think he would not want to disappoint the masses. He would not just want to impress the masses because they are calling for early cabinets. Already, he has been having a lot of meetings with the permanent secretaries who have briefed him about the oversight functions in the ministry. And this is the first, I want to say this is the first time it's happening where permanent secretaries will have access directly to the president. Usually, they brief the ministers. But now that there's direct contact, the president can have a very broad view of what is going on in the ministries.
So when the ministers come in, it will be easier for them to run? It
will be easier for them to run. Note that when the ministers come, they have to get used to the office. They have to be briefed. And his appointees are mostly technocrats and politicians. So he's going to get everywhere.
Does he have to take a generation before this
is concluded? Please, it's just a calendar month that is now in office.
In so I think the time is too early. Of problems, a month, is it not too long?
Well, the president in South Africa, in Johannesburg, in the African Union Summit, he mentioned that he is going to have the best people in his cabinet. And I'm sure he's not going to disappoint the masses. He said that the handover notes...
And you don't agree that too much cooking sometimes spoils the broth?
Yeah, he said the handover notes. I just want to make one point straight. He said the past government handed over the notes to him as late as 27th of May, 2 days or a day before the handover, you know. So there wasn't much time to study it. It was 8,000 pages, very voluminous.
But that was